All right, we'll go 3, 2, and 1. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Persuasion by the Pint. I'm Jonathan Taylor, along with
Sean McCool.
Sean. Today we got a random flight. We you know what? We're going to be talking about something that's really in the news today.
Yes.
One of
It
college
is taking over the country. Like even people, I was just talking to a buddy, and even someone who doesn't follow college football knows what's going on.
Right.
It's just out there. So
even you don't have to be a college fan to appreciate our topic today, because we're going to be talking about a guy who's just lighting it on fire. But he's using some definite lessons from persuasion influence to really build his brand, and that is Coach Prime Deion Sanders. So and he's turned that program around by, you look at the I think Colorado won one game last year.
Yeah, they won 11 last year.
Couldn't fill up a stadium, and I think that was a sellout crowd against CSU last week.
Yeah, Colorado they showed a video of the students lined up to try to get tickets because the tickets had gotten so expensive. And he's only won 2 games.
Yeah.
It's not like this is a second season where they had a great season last season. Like in 2 games, only one home game, he's completely turned around the. And again, this is not about college football that we're going to be talking. So if you're listening and you're like, I'm not into sports really, this ain't about that.
Right.
That's the background, that's the context, but it's not what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about specifically 4 powerful persuasion lessons from Deion Sanders, aka Coach Prime. There's probably more than that will come out as we talk, and examples and things like that. But he is. I posted on my Facebook last week. I was like, if you are in either marketing, sales, coaching, leadership, I mean life coaching, not just like sports coaching. So either type of coaching, leadership at any level, and you're not watching closely what Coach Prime is doing, you are missing a master class in persuasion and influence and marketing and
personal branding. Yeah, exactly.
Personal branding and everything.
Guy's just a walking. Of course, that's just his. None of that is fake for him, because it's
we'll be talking about that. Like
he's always been in the flash. He's always been about flash and style, and
but he backs it up.
You go back to his early days.
Yeah.
Even at Florida State, like even when he was in college, before he got into the pros, he was prime time. He wanted to talk about, he dubbed himself prime time.
Yeah. And he's revising that. Yeah. We'll get into some stats after our little beverage break from his NFL career NFL and MLB career that are just insane. Like some of the stuff he's done, nobody has ever done.
Right.
So we'll talk about that. But first, before we do that, what do we have on tap?
Well, I've got one. It's I know you're jumping into the fall festival with I won't give away what you've got, but I'm still I'm still holding on to the summer.
Well, today, as we're recording this, is officially, I think, the last day of summer. Yesterday was.
That's right. So
exactly. So technically, we're in autumn, I think. So
that's right.
I waited as long as I could, but I was running out of selections at the store because everything has turned into either pumpkin or Oktoberfest.
Right.
On the shelf, it seems like. So what do you have? You're holding on to some.
All right. So I'm going to show you because mine's kind of a fun one. You ever watch the movie Caddyshack?
Oh yeah.
So I've got a Brewdog Caddyshack. So this was actually introduced, back in the early April for the golf season. Major season's underway, so they introduced this beer. So I thought, man, I'm going to pull this one out before we enter fall, because pretty much golf, the golf season's kind of wrapping up. It's wrapped up, and
oh man, it's just starting here. You can finally get outside.
Yeah, I mean it's perfect weather to get out and play. But this is one that it's kind of a tribute. It is a Pilsner. It's a tribute to the if you haven't seen the movie Caddyshack, it's probably one of the all-time greatest golf movies out there. It's besides Happy Gilmore, because we watched Happy Gilmore last night. So I don't know. It's a close tie between.
So if you had to rank Caddyshack, Happy Gilmore, and Tin Cup, and Bagger Vance, that seems to me the 4 top golf movies.
I'll probably go. Tin Cup's probably one of my favorite.
Yeah.
So I'd probably go Tin Cup. I'd probably go Tin Cup, Happy Gilmore, Caddyshack, and then the Legend. What did you say? The Legend of Bagger. Yeah, that's a good one. And then the greatest game ever played, I think, with Jim Caviezel or something like that. With I forgot the golfer he's representing.
Obviously, Tin Cup and
Tin Cup's great.
It's a good movie, but it's not as funny, obviously, as Caddyshack and Happy Gilmore. But it's good though. It's still good though.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Definitely taps into the emotion of golf.
Yep, for sure. But this one's a Pilsner, 5% ABV, and I think these guys are based out of up in Ohio, I believe, from what I can tell. I didn't find much on their actual website. Crisp, 5% Pilsner, Bushwood beer. So
Bushwood beer.
So we'll see.
Not to be confused with Bush beer.
All right. So what do you got? I know you're. We teased it. There you go. The smashed pumpkin.
So I've got from Shipyard Brewing Company. I've got the smashed pumpkin ale with quote natural flavors, whatever that means. This is a big bodied pumpkin beer, not to be confused with a big bottom pumpkin beer. This is a 9% ABV ale.
Oh, wow.
It's got Willamette and Saffir hops, which doesn't mean a word, anything to me. British pale ale, malted wheat, light Munich. A big body beer with a pleasing aroma of pumpkin and nutmeg. Pale ale, wheat, and light Munich malts combine with the natural tannin and pumpkin and the delicate spices of Saffir and Hallertau hops to balance the sweetness of the fruit. This beer is best enjoyed at 55 degrees Fahrenheit. So I've got my thermometer in the glass waiting until exactly 55 degrees before I consume.
Had been 55 degrees in your area. It's been a while since you've seen those temperatures.
Yeah. Definitely won't be drinking it outside. But I think we're about there. It just came out of the fridge. It's been room temperature. So we should be somewhere between, fridge and room temperature, which is around 55. So I feel pretty good about current drinking temperature. So I'm ready.
It's amazing. That color.
Man, look at that. It's nice. Very nice orange, deep orange color. Kind of a burnt orange, like the real UT.
The real UT. They're playing a lot better than the one on
the East
here
Coast.
In our state.
Yep. All right. Well, cheers. Let's cheers it up.
Cheers.
Oh, that's much better than last week. Oh man, that does taste like pumpkin. Tastes like pumpkin pie.
Ooh.
Pumpkin pie, as we might say back in Georgia. A little sweet, but
all right. What do you got?
I'm gonna give it a 4.13732.
4.13732. All right.
Very good. You were paying good active listening skills from Mr. Taylor over there. That's why he makes the big bucks in sales. Active listening. So
now repeat those backwards from
can't do it.
I'm going to give this one a 3.11111.
Not great, huh?
I think I like the movie a lot better than this beer. So
it's probably just recency bias or something.
I mean, I think it's just a Pilsner. Pilsners
they're just watery.
Yeah, I mean, and there's some really good Pilsners out there, but because I like, I'm actually I like a good German beer, and I actually like a good Hefeweizen, but it's hard. I mean, you just have to get the right blend, I guess, the right balance. And this one's just really,
it's all about the hops,
Yeah. This one's just kind of flat. So,
that happens. Yeah, this is good. It's a little sweet, but I mean, it definitely. If you picked up a can of smashed pumpkin, I mean, it does taste like a pumpkin pie. It's got a little of the nutmeg coming through and the pumpkin. So yeah, it's
awesome.
It's what you would expect for that can. So I am not disappointed at all. So
good.
All right, well, let's jump in.
Let's talk about some prime time.
Yeah, so I texted you this week and I was like, hey, let's do a show about Coach Prime, because one, it'll help our SEO rating for our website and YouTube and everything else. And two, it's just, it's in the news, and it's a great example of just someone who is absolutely crushing it in all the areas we talked about: branding, marketing, leadership, coaching. I mean, he's covering all the bases right now.
He's killing it.
And just absolutely killing it. So we came up with 4.
What is it? Okay.
Goodness.
Just kind of flipping out off of a tab there.
Yeah.
There we go.
All
right. So disregard that.
So we've got 4 points, 4 powerful persuasion lessons.
Yep.
From Coach Prime. So we'll just go through these. But before we do, I want to get into a little bit of Coach Prime's bio as a player. Because if you weren't following, NFL back in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, I guess.
Yeah.
Then you might not know these, but so he played for 14 years in the NFL. I did not realize it was that long. But
yeah, he wasn't that long in how long was he in baseball? He wasn't that long in baseball. Probably 5, maybe 5, 6 years.
But yeah, he's 14 years in NFL. I'm not sure how long he was in baseball, but check this out, Jonathan. I don't know if you remember these. He's the only player to play in both a World Series and a Super Bowl.
I remember that. Yep. Because he was with, I think he was with Dallas when he got his first Super Bowl, right? Or was that San Francisco? I know he's Dallas and San Francisco.
Yeah. The World Series, I think, was with New York. And then I can't remember which is which, because the next stat also is the only player. He's also the only player to score a touchdown and a home run in the same week.
That's right.
That's pretty amazing. So it was a punt return for a touchdown and then a home run with whichever team he was on. I didn't write that down, but he won consecutive Super Bowls, but with different teams. So it went from the 49ers to Dallas, I think.
That's right. You're right.
So he went back to back.
Because he was with Dallas. I think that Dallas won a Super Bowl in like 95, and I think he won one with San Francisco in 96 or 90. I think it was 96.
So they were back to back, whichever ones they were. But so that's pretty cool. I mean,
it is.
I don't know that too many people have done that. I think there's probably a few others that have done it, but not many. Now, here's an interesting stat that is not football related, but it tells you a lot about his pull right now in the world of media. He's one of very, very few people, I didn't get the exact number, to be featured on 60 Minutes twice in the same 12 months.
Wow.
Like, that's just super rare. No president, no prime minister, none of those types of people have ever been on 60 Minutes twice in 12 months. And Coach Prime has been on twice in 12 months now. So those are some pretty cool stats. I mean, that tells you, the reason I share that is because I think it gives you a peek into the level of excellence with which he plays at. right?
Right.
So we're going to be talking about some stuff that he does and how he's, some people think he's cocky, some people think he's over the top, but as he himself says, if you can back it up,
that's right.
If you can back it up, it's not bragging.
That's right.
He said that in his playing days. Like, if you can back it up, it ain't bragging.
That's right. Yeah. And he backed it up every time.
Yes, he did. He shut down half the field every game.
I mean, he was the ultimate smack talker. I don't know if you're like, I just remember he would just run his mouth and he was in your face. Even when he was at, he started off with Atlanta, for the Braves and the Falcons.
Yep.
And, that's back when the Falcons were horrible, and he really, on defense, he just he was a one-man show on that
defense and special teams. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. They, as a good cornerback, they, you stop throwing to that side of the field, so it's amazing. So let's talk about the four persuasion things. So the number one thing that I had, and these aren't really in order, these are just kind of as I wrote them down, but I think he's really demonstrating this at Colorado. He did it at Jackson State as well. So for those that don't know, he was at Jackson State before he was at Colorado, and he turned that program around in no time flat. And then he took the job here at Colorado, and now the hype train is much bigger because it's a much bigger stage. He only won one game, and next thing you know, College Game Day has got their set, at Colorado.
Right.
After one game, right? So it's pretty crazy. But the number one is believe in your people and yourself.
Yep.
And if you follow him on Instagram, there's a lot of behind the scenes of how he works with his players, and they even let you inside the team room, and obviously selectively, they're not letting you see the playbook and that kind of stuff, but they're letting you see some of the motivation stuff and the key things he's doing. But I saw a video this week where he talked about one of the players who's one of the receivers, and he was kind of having a bad game at the start last week. And he talked about, he pulled the guy aside and he said, look, you're a dog. You're just having a couple bad plays. You need to remember your dad, who's in prison, is watching, and he's looking for a reason to clap in front of all his inmate friends.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's believing in the people, but also knowing enough about your people,
right,
to be able to pull out those kind of things, critical moments, right? You have to know them. He didn't just give him a pep talk and say, "Hey, man, just shake it off, go get them." He got very personal.
He used what really drove him.
Yeah, and then that kid ended up with a winning touchdown later in the game.
Right.
And it was not like a gimme touchdown. Like, he caught it. I think it was probably 5 or 10 yards out, made a couple of fakes, and got in for the touchdown.
Yeah.
And that was going through his head. Hey, Dad's watching, so that was a really cool little interview to see.
And that takes, you think about that, you have over 100 players on your team, right?
Even if you just took the starters, it's 22 people.
That's right. That's right. And so you have to know.
You got a guy that goes both ways. But
you got to know. You got to know your people, right?
Yeah.
You got to really know people. You got to understand what makes them tick and how to push their buttons. But obviously, was that the Travis Hunter kid?
Now, Travis Hunter is the guy that plays both ways, right?
Okay, all right.
He's number 5. I can't remember his name.
Okay,
but he's the receiver.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's like, to know to believe in your people at a level where you're willing to get to know them, or maybe because you're willing to get to know them, you can believe them at a different level. I don't know. I would actually think your willingness to engage gives you more to believe in as a human being.
Yep.
And of course, believe in yourself. And I don't know if there's many people on the planet who believe in themselves more than Coach Prime does.
Oh yeah. Think about what he went through recently too. Had part of his foot amputated.
Yeah, man. If you saw the Jackson State document, Coach Prime on is it on Amazon Prime?
Yeah.
Yeah, they showed all that, man. Like literally showed it, and I was like, "Oh, that's gross." Yeah, and he, had to go through all that. So yeah, and he kind of disappeared for a good 20 years.
He did.
He did a little broadcasting here and there, and he did some, stuff. But man, when he decided to come back into coaching, he came back into coaching, and he brought all the flash, the. I mean, you don't see many coaches that are wearing, designer sunglasses and a big gold chain, and he looks like a player still. But that's him, and he's not going to change who he is.
Right.
And the players love him for it, and honestly, the media loves him. And I love how he, and this kind of leads into the next point. Point number 2 is play your game unapologetically.
Right.
He does not apologize for the way he's doing business. The biggest criticism when he went to Colorado was just about everybody on the team was gone, and he brought in new people. He brought a whole bunch of kids from Jackson State.
Yep.
Through the transfer portal. And then he grabbed a whole bunch more because he knew it's a whole lot easier to just go find winners than it is to try to get people who are not winners and convert them.
Right.
And people even Nick Saban, who's a friend of his and one of the greatest coaches, was very critical. It's you can't do that. It's going to change the game too much. Blah, 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 blah. Now everybody's going to be, every time they want to turn around a program, they're going to just go get 80 new guys.
Yeah.
But he's like, so I was brought here to win. I was hired to win.
Right.
I didn't break any rules, so this is what I'm doing. And having that kind of confidence is.
And he brought, I thought it was interesting. He brought people, obviously, he brings the camera crew in with him to document all this.
Yeah.
And he even put that out on video, which, sometimes if you're going to be like that, some people might want to, not have the cameras running at the time when they have those difficult conversations. But all that was caught on tape where, he was point blank, matter of fact. But I think that, obviously he's sending a message, he's out to weed out the people that obviously don't want to be there. But I think that's part of his persona. He wants, he's going to be authentic, open, honest, and no matter, whoever he rubs the wrong way, so be it. But that's just, that's him.
Yeah. He's unapologetic as far as because he's not going to say anything he doesn't believe.
Right.
So he doesn't have to apologize for anything, that's a slip up, because he's very intent. You mentioned before the show, he's very intentional. He knows what he's doing, but he's also not afraid to challenge. I saw the press conference the first week after their first win, and one of the reporters was, basically complimenting on his win. He was like, whoa, wait a second. Last week, you didn't think this was going to happen.
Right.
And he called him out,
Yeah. Yeah.
He remembers who was on his side and who wasn't before things got rolling.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting. Anything else under kind of play your game unapologetically?
No, I just think that's, I think it's refreshing. I mean, quite honestly, it's refreshing to see a personality like that.
Yes. Especially when everybody tiptoes around the media so much.
Absolutely. In this day and age, it's, everybody, coach speak and political or politician speak sometimes is one and the same. When you hear coaches, they stand up and it's like, you can almost predict what some of these coaches are going to say when they give interviews. We just got to play our, 3 phases of the game and blah, 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 blah. It's like, Rachel says, these people never say anything new. It's always the same thing,
Yeah. Well, going back to the first point about believing in your people, I have noticed in a lot of the press conferences, he'll slow down and he's he'll really talk about one of the players.
Yeah.
Not just his kids that are, the stars or one of the stars, but he'll pull out a player and be like, did you see what he did? Did you see the way he did it? Did you see this? Did you see this about this player? And, he builds that person up.
Right.
And that, man, you can imagine that kid seeing that press conference later and just be loyal forever from that point on.
Right.
Because that edification is just going to last forever.
Yep. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And recruits see that too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Like they're going to want to go work for, if you put this in like a more of a career context, they're going to want to go work for that guy.
Right.
They also want to work for the hype machine because, that's NIL money. It's, more exposure. They're getting on ESPN more. They're getting on TV more. Like,
that's right.
All that stuff, So, you had mentioned kind of off camera a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about this and you were like, maybe he goes to Florida next or something like that. But
right.
I don't know, man. I think Colorado's a big enough, platform that he could stay there for a while, but it'll be interesting to see. I tell you what, if he goes anywhere next, well, he's going to get offers no matter what next year.
Oh, big time. Because
there's going to be a bidding war that will be fun to watch for sure.
Right.
But my guess is he'll stay at Colorado for a little while. I don't know how long, but it's a big enough school that and a big enough.
I think they got the resources for sure. But and they're going to try to keep him because he's probably bringing in Colorado more. I mean, what their ratings for last week's game between Colorado State was like, the TV ratings were through the roof. So,
and it was a late game. Like, it's not like it was a prime spot. It was a really, it didn't start till 9 or 10 o'clock.
Yeah. The game ended at 2:30 in the morning, Eastern time.
Yeah.
And so they're going to spend whatever it takes. But when they see a person that attracts, it's kind of like we were watching the Happy Gilmore last night, and there's some similarities there. You got, Happy Gilmore is this guy that's never played golf. He's a hockey player. He comes into the sport of golf, and the decorum in golf, and he upsets the apple cart where he's doing all these wild antics. He's not wearing a collar. He's wearing hockey shirts.
He was the Live Golf Tour before they came.
And so in the movie, they're like, the players are the players are complaining. He's making us all look like fool. I mean, he's making our sport look like like stupid, because he's got all these fans. He's bringing all these fans who've never, been golf fans before, and they're showing up with beer hats and tank tops, up at the, to the golf tournaments. But the guy's like, well, our ratings are bigger than they've ever been.
Well, I mean, that's one of my other points. I'll skip down to number 4 that I had written down, again, not in any order, but I wrote down, know the real business you're in.
Right.
Yeah. And I sent you a video from, was it Josh Pate? He's a commentator, college football commentator. And he made this point, like, Deion understands, Coach Prime understands he is in the entertainment business. He understands college football is entertainment.
That's right.
And some of these purist coaches are like, no, it's a sport. We're building men. Like, well, maybe you are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. But this is a media network of teams, that is used to entertain people, definitely through the fall. But I mean, it's almost year round now with sports radio and, websites and blogs and everything else. Like, it's an entertainment business.
It is.
And he understands that. That's why he had The Rock at the game last week. That's why he had Lil Wayne at the event last week, and all kinds of other celebrities. And a lot of people, I would have been interested to see if they had lost that game, if he would have got a lot of backlash about, the distraction. He brought all these celebrities in. It was distraction, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But I think he would have, he would have been unapologetic. He's like, no, these are my friends. They wanted to come see the game.
Right. Absolutely.
But knowing the real business you're in, we've talked about Dan Kennedy on here.
Mm-hmm.
And we've said, Dan Kennedy is famous for saying, you're not in the plumbing business if you're a plumber. You're in the business of marketing plumbing services.
Right. Absolutely.
At least if you want to be successful.
That's right.
He's in the business of marketing Colorado football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he is he's an interesting person. So people that are interesting, I don't care what profession you're in, whether you're a plumber, whether you're a dentist, a lawyer, or a college coach, if you're interesting, you're going to attract eyeballs, right? I mean, so what I forgot the guy that used to be the famous attorney in Knoxville for years. He had his billboard plastered all over town. He's kind of like the Saul Goodman, like on the Better Call Saul.
Here we have like the Texas Hammer is big in Houston.
Yeah.
And then in Austin and San Antonio, it's Thomas J. Henry. Like he is on every other commercial.
Yep.
Bigger than life.
Mm-hmm.
All that kind of stuff.
That was Saul Goodman and Better Call Saul. He's like he's doing the cheesy, like you'd think cheesy commercials, but it's like he's way out there. He's like the like Lesko guy with the question marks on the TV, promoting his law firm and but hey, it's getting eyeballs and people are talking about him and obviously he was the person to contact, right?
Yep. Yeah, we've got several of those all fighting it out here in Austin. We've got, and it's funny because they're memorable. I mean, we've got one guy who his tagline is "I'm on top of it," and he's always standing on top of a wreck, like a wrecked car, a wrecked truck, or semi, or whatever. We got another guy who his phone number is like 512-444-4444. He's like, just remember the fours, and like, it's funny, like, they know the business they're in. They know it's marketing. They know they've got to be the first top of mind when somebody gets in a wreck and they're sitting in the hospital,
right?
Or they're at home and they can't work. They need to be the most memorable name that comes to mind.
Right. Absolutely.
So, and for Deion, when recruits are thinking about where do I want to go play, he needs to be top of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And what 18-year-old is not want to would rather go. I don't even care if you and I are both Georgia fans, right?
Right.
They've won 2 national championships. It's like, do I want to go there? Do I want to go hang out with The Rock and Lil Wayne? Like, I don't know. Like, I see this program's up and coming. I get to hang out with Coach Prime.
He's a player's coach.
Yeah. I get. He played the game. He's connected.
Mm-hmm.
He understands marketing, and with the NIL, like that's a big deal.
Absolutely.
I saw his. He's not only is he coaching and getting airtime,
mm-hmm.
He's now doing almond commercials. He's doing the Geico commercials, and then I saw now he's doing KFC commercials with his son Shadur. So Shadur's obviously got an NIL deal with KFC.
Yeah.
I actually saw there was a video on Instagram where Deion had Tom Brady and his son on, and Deion was saying, "Hey Tom, do you think my son Shadur should be buying a Rolls Royce right now?" And Tom was like, "No, he should be in the film room." But just the fact that Deion could get Tom Brady on the phone,
yeah, right.
Like even some like I don't know, could Kirby Smart get Tom Brady on the phone that easy? I don't know. Maybe
I'm not sure. Yeah,
but Deion can.
Yeah,
and that.
Well, he's been mentoring his son too. I mean, he's doing a lot of his.
The camps and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So know the business you're in is number 3. So we've talked about believe in your people and yourself, play your game unapologetically, know the real business you're in. And then the last one that I wrote down was embrace and redirect the chaos and chatter. So I saw a video last week and I don't even remember exactly what it was, but the analogy they gave, and it wasn't necessarily about Coach Prime, they were just talking about kind of the same thing. And they used Aikido martial arts as an example. So if you're not familiar, for those listening, Aikido is one of the martial arts that uses the opponent's momentum against them. Right. Sort of like judo.
Sure.
If you're older, like Jonathan and I, you may remember the Steven Seagal movies.
Yeah.
He was an Aikido supposedly practitioner, right? So somebody lunges, you pull their arm and you just kind of throw them across the room.
Sure.
And they're all confused because, they were expecting to hit force with force.
Right.
And I think Deion does that really well. I think he takes what the reporters give him or the other coaches, especially like this week, the whole sunglass controversy that he blew up into now, I think $5 million in sales so far.
Sure. Yeah.
And it was interesting. I saw on Instagram, he said like, or one of the it was on game day, I guess, one of the interviews, because they were like talking about his sunglasses with Blender, the ones he wears.
Yeah.
Launched last week at the same time that this controversy about the other coach, calling him out about wearing sunglasses while talking to him. He's like, I wish I had planned that, but I didn't. Like, we already had the glasses in production. They were already going to launch this week. It just happened that when he said that, he's like, then we ran with it.
Mm-hmm.
So he took, a lot of people might have ignored that and launched their glasses, but he actually then blew it up a little bit, and use that momentum to put the sunglasses into a whole new orbit. And now he's got a brand new brand that did $5 million in a week.
Absolutely.
Sales.
Yeah. That's amazing. It's incredible.
It's just brilliant marketing. So yeah. And it's, he uses that to hype up his players, to, produce his brand, whatever, wherever he needs to direct it, he redirects that chaos and that chatter where it needs to go.
Yeah.
So
that's good stuff. I mean, the bottom line is he just knows how to use, he knows how to use media in his benefit. I mean, to his benefit nowadays. And, I think that's
easy, man. It takes a little finesse and street smarts for sure.
Yeah.
To be able to do that.
Yeah.
And to let just the level of self-confidence he has is just unbelievable.
You're right. Yep.
I mean, I don't have that. I wish I did, but man, he's just at a whole nother level. Like,
well, confidence is, confidence is kind of persuasive in and of itself. I mean, it's a characteristic of people that, they just exude. Anyone that exudes confidence is kind of on the next level, and they're it's pretty easy to get things done when you have that confidence. You almost expect it, and people will cater to that. I mean, they're easily turned on by that or convinced by that, when you have that kind of confidence.
And he does it in such a way that you like, it's really likable.
Yep.
It's not like,
it's not an overly arrogant.
It's not overly arrogant. You don't feel like he's talking down to you. It's just like, oh, that kind of makes sense.
Right.
Like, you walk away almost thinking like, oh,
because he's not only confident in himself, but he's confident. He's confident in the people around him. He kind of, he is willing to share the limelight with his coaches and his players and all that stuff. Yep.
Which is probably something he's matured into from when he was a player.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's just part of getting older and a little bit wiser. And so, yeah, I think that's just amazing. So let's see what the old comment machine is firing up over here.
Got some Deion lovers from Russia.
Hi from Russia.
Some prime lovers.
Yeah, they are big time college fans over there. So.
What's your favorite college football team there? Is it the University of Stalingrad or?
Yeah. Do you have college football teams? Let us know, Stas. Belokrilov. I see. I'm a 50-year-old white guy. I can't.
So I want you to think about, Sean. I think about other celebrity sports figures that attract eyeballs, in ways that. So I think about the world of golf. You got a ton of great golfers out there, but who are players that you think that come to mind immediately when you think about the game of golf?
Wow, that's a good question.
Who's at the top of the list? Top of mind, right off the top of your head.
I mean, Rory McIlroy. Yeah. Dustin Johnson. Kind of in the vein we're talking about for a while, but I just don't think he ever was as good. I mean, he's obviously a very good player, but I just lost the name, but Puma kid, Ricky Fowler.
Oh yeah, Ricky Fowler. Yeah,
I think he's done a good job marketing, especially when he came out. He went with Puma, which was a different brand. It never been seen in golf and things like that. Wore a flat bill hat when everybody else was wearing the old dad hat, like little things like that. I just don't think he ever lived up to the hype.
Right. That's right.
But yeah, to me though, there's nobody like, I think Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus were better examples of what we're talking about back in the day than anybody on the tour right now. Like, I don't think anybody on the tour is dominating, conversation around golf.
I'm surprised you didn't say Tiger Woods at the top, because that's just the name that.
Yeah, he definitely was back then, but I mean, he's not anymore for sure. No, but in his day, for sure.
Yeah, from I guess for the longest throughout the history of the sport, a person that's commanded, I guess, from a branding standpoint.
But I think I don't know that he was that great at like branding and some of the stuff we're talking about as much as he was just amazing player.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't know that I actually don't think he was that great with the media. He was kind of,
I would say probably, and probably a lot of that has to do with obviously
he was just
great
so much better than everybody else.
Yeah.
At the time. But he wasn't a great marketer, I don't think. I mean, obviously, you got a nice contract.
Well, let me just put it this way. He was unique in the fact that here's a young person. He came up from Stanford. He did it such world. Yeah, exactly. And that kind of set himself apart. Yeah. You look at John Daly, who kind of an unorthodox type golfer, kind of a heavy set guy, but he cranks the long ball, but he wears, he goes out and, he's kind of doing everything different in a day and age where, golfers are getting back into shape and everything, over the years, he's kind of done the opposite. Yeah, exactly. Drinks and smokes out on the golf course. So but he attracts eyeballs. He attracts attention. I think a lot of that just kind of people are looking for, they find him interesting from that standpoint. So
I don't think there's anybody that even comes close to Coach Prime in any other sport that's doing what he's doing at the level he's doing it.
Right.
Just the marketing and everything else. Like, it's just a whole, and you can just tell just because, I mean, here we are talking about on a podcast, and we've been doing this for 4 years. We've never talked about a coach or an athlete or anything like that.
Right.
But here we are talking about him. It's just another level. And it'll be interesting to see if there's people that try to duplicate that. I mean, you see some of it in the online space, but even that, that tends to be niched.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm trying to think of anybody in the past that's really taken over a market like that. There's probably some celebrities that have done it kind of temporarily. I mean, Oprah's coming to mind. I mean, he's getting in that category.
Yeah.
Where if he were to endorse something right now, it would have that Oprah effect.
Yeah.
For sure right now. Because I mean, even people, like I said at the outset, and especially if they beat Oregon this week, like it's going to go to a whole new level,
Yeah.
I don't know that they will, but I'm actually hoping to see him lose because I want to see how he handles that.
How he reacts. Well, I think probably you'll find it this weekend, probably more than likely.
More than likely, yeah. On paper, for sure. Man, there's just something. There's so many intangibles with what he's doing that I would never bet against. Like, I would never place a bet against the team right now.
Sure.
Like, it'd be money you just want to burn for sure. But because we've talked about when you're dealing with a bunch of 18 to 22 year olds, everything swings on emotion.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even more so than adults. But, and to be able to manage that and direct that and all those kind of things is really, really impressive. As far as persuade, and to do the same thing with the media and the fans, and like it's one thing, like Kirby Smart, I think, does a good job managing his players, he hasn't built a hype machine at Georgia like Coach Prime has done at Colorado in 2 games.
Right.
It's just, and he's won 2 national championships at Georgia. They still don't get the respect that Colorado's already getting.
Right.
And same
here's the other thing that I think that he's unique is like I feel like he's shared this on multiple occasions that he's on a mission just outside of football. It's just not a football thing.
Right.
He's on a mission, and he would call, he would call it a mission from God to help others, to help his players, to help these young men or these young athletes become the men that they need to be. And
that's probably a fifth thing we could say. I mean, that'd be maybe our 5th persuasion is have a cause that's bigger than yourself.
Right. And I think people, when you share your cause, I think it's engaging. And I think people are attracted to others who have a mission that's above their own self-interest. And, he shares that openly. For him, he's made a ton of money. He's not in this for the money. He's unlike many coaches who get into it just to make they'll get a 5-year deal. They'll get out, if they don't make it, if they get fired, if their career ends, then they retire with millions of dollars. Deion had millions of dollars when he got into coaching, so he didn't do this for the money. And
at the same time, he'll take the money. He's
absolutely
not shy about it.
No, he's not shy about it. Yeah, I mean, he's going to take the money. I mean,
what's his saying? If you look good, you play good. If you play good, they pay good, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So he's, I think what he's, in Zen, like Buddhism and things like that, or you talk about detachment, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go after something, but you're detached from the outcome exactly.
Right.
And I feel like he exemplifies that in a really strong way.
Sure.
Like, I want to win the, national championship. I want these guys to go on and play in the NFL.
Yeah.
But most importantly, I want them to be good men, good community leaders, things like that.
Right. Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. That's good stuff. It'll be interesting. I can't wait to see the outcome. And like you said, Sean, how he handles, because I think he's going to handle it the way that any of us would expect. Yeah. I think.
But I'm excited to see, because he's going to lose the game. If not,
he's going to use it. I guarantee you, he'll use it to his advantage.
Absolutely.
Even a loss. So.
In fact, he'll probably thrive on it, because the press will then be like, see, it's too good to be true.
That's right.
That kind of stuff. And he'll be like, no.
Yep.
Y'all are the ones that got excited. I knew this was going to take time. I know I'm missing. He said several times, I know I'm missing 5 to 6 key players.
Right.
Y'all are the ones that got too excited too fast.
That's right. Exactly.
I think he's realistic in his expectations, but he's also going to ride the momentum and the press and everything else while he can.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm sure behind the scenes,
as he should.
He's telling the players, just like Kirby Smart's telling the Bulldogs, y'all ain't done nothing yet. Like, you're not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Don't believe the hype. Or as Saban would say, the rat poison.
See, you see the two contrasting styles of coaching. You mentioned Saban, the guy, the coaching style of Bill Belichick with the Patriots, who are very subdued. They don't share a lot. They say pretty much the same talking points every press conference after the game. We didn't do what we needed to do.
No social media.
And so, but they're not interested. As long as they're winning, that's going to be okay. Yeah. But when you're not winning, that's going to be, people don't appreciate that. You're not as interesting.
Exactly.
Like when you're not winning. Now, Deion, I think can get away with not winning
to a point.
To a point, but as long as he's interesting and it doesn't go overboard, I think that he's going to have plenty of time to get things on track there. So
yeah, you're still going to want to interview him even when he's losing.
Absolutely. Because the media are looking for stories, and they're always going to befriend. They're always going to put up with a guy that's super interesting, that gives them sound bites that they love to talk to. Yep. And, but man, you be a coach that's boring and you're not winning. Ooh, that's going to be,
Alabama's kind of going through that right now.
Who's that?
Alabama's.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Very contrasting style. Saban is just subdued, and man, when it's going down, it's just it's
the end of the world in Alabama right now.
That's right.
So
that's right. But man, you get a guy on there who is optimistic. He's positive, man. He's got the. I mean, he's firing on all cylinders. Charismatic dude.
Optimistic.
Losing 6 games, and he's looking ahead to the future.
Yeah.
And he's looking ahead. Everything is going right according to plan, because he's on a mission. So you're going to give him all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Hey man, you know what you're doing.
Yeah. So, well, good stuff, man. We can all learn some lessons from that for
Absolutely.
Sure. And I feel like they'll win 9 or 10 games this year. I mean,
that's what I said. 8 games. Ahead. I said 8 games, like at the very beginning, the first week when they played TCU. I said, when I saw that, I said, that's an 8 game. That's probably an 8-win team right there.
And they've got a pretty tough schedule for sure. So
for sure, because they've got to play USC and some of the big, the Pac-12 conference, which it's the last year. They've got an incredible conference this year, in terms of the performance of all their teams. There's Washington, USC, Oregon. Man, they're just on fire.
Yeah.
Too bad this is their last year.
Yeah, I know. They finally making some news, and now they're going to disband. They should might want to rethink that.
If anybody's interested in just personality from a standpoint, you don't have to be interested in football or sports, but if you're interested in just how to utilize or how to take on a persona, or just create a persona that's basically just a way to just create all kinds of media and press. I mean, what did you mention? There's one on, you mentioned the series.
It's Coach Prime on Amazon.
Amazon. Yeah. But there's even one that goes back to during his day. And I think it may have been ESPN's 30. I think it's ESPN's 30 for 30 on Prime.
He's got on Amazon Prime. There's the Coach Prime series, which last season or the last 2 seasons were at Jackson State, but now they just picked it up and they're at Colorado. It's like he kept that series even though he moved schools.
Right.
And that comes out on December 7th.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that. But after they won the first game at TCU, I went back and watched Coach Prime on Amazon, and I was like, okay, you would not have picked him as a 20-point underdog if you had watched this series beforehand.
No. Yeah.
There's no way, because you could just see what he was building.
Yeah, exactly.
And how many of those players came with him to Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy.
So I think I'm pretty sure it's a 30 for 30. But it goes back. I guess I'm going back further, beyond, in the past, like way beyond his coaching years, back when he was a player, an NFL player. But he just there's a series where he talks about like his sayings, like he would have a book of all of his rhymes, just his little, everything that he says, his sayings, because everything rhymes. He's got, he's intentional, as we talked about, intentional about everything, down to the very, some of his phrases. And so he keeps this stuff. He records this stuff. It's like, to him, it's intentional. It's like a musician writing down lyrics to a song.
Exactly.
Like he's using that.
And he knows, he knows his primary audience is his players, secondary audience is the press, and then his third audience is probably the fans.
Right.
But yeah, I just looked up the stats. So as of 3 days ago, his sunglasses bring in $5 million in first 3 days of pre-sale orders.
Wow. So he's a marketing machine.
Yeah. And how many people are now going to be like, oh,
I use my coaching gig to get rich in the sunglasses, you know.
Yeah. And I love how, like, you know, because he's got a uniform, you know, manager and team there at Colorado, like all the colleges do. He'll take a sound bite from that week and he'll have sweatshirts that he's wearing on the sideline that weekend.
Yeah.
You know, like Ain't Hard to Find or We Believe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I saw that. Like, that's awesome.
You know, I mean, he's like, all right, let me use these sound bites. Let me wear a sweatshirt because I know I'm going to be on camera for, you know, a total of, you know, 12 minutes during this 3-hour game when they show me on the sideline. You know, it's just, he's playing 3D chess when everybody else is playing regular chess.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
exactly.
It's if you're not watching, go to he doesn't do much on Facebook or anywhere else, but he's all over Instagram. Yeah, follow him on Instagram, Deion Sanders.
That's where his audience, his young audience isn't on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not on TikTok, so I don't know how much is going on there. But
yeah,
if you follow him on Instagram for sure, he's always putting out behind the scenes and all that stuff. So
yeah, for
definitely,
sure.
Definitely take a look there and write down your own lessons about Coach Prime.
There it is. Ain't hard to find. I love it.
Yeah. So
that's awesome, man. Good stuff, man. I love it. Good lesson today. And, we'll try to, I'll try to share some links, on the show page. And then that, if I can find that documentary.
Does Blenders have a affiliate program?
Hey, hopefully so, man. Let's get some money off of these shades.
I don't think I could pull off those shades.
No, that's not my style. I wish. Yeah, I'm more of a
an Oakley guy, right?
Lately, I've been kind of
Ray-Ban.
I've been wearing the Ray-Bans. Yeah.
I'm a Maui Jim guy. I was Oakley, and now I'm Maui Jim. So,
yeah. Good old crazy Joe Biden. He popularized those Ray-Bans again. Now, maybe that was Top Gun again. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Either one. But now Blenders are all the thing, all the rage.
Yeah.
So
good stuff. Well, thanks again as always. It's been fun. Good topic, Sean. You can find us over at persuasionbythepint.com. You can find us on all of your platforms, Stitcher Radio, iHeart, Spotify. And we'll see you all next week for episode 320. Is it 6? No, 325, because this was 324. So see you next week.
See ya.
All right.